So welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast, Adam Newlands. Thanks for joining us.
No, thank you very much for having us on.
26-year-old, 13 properties, soon to double that portfolio the next coming months, mate. You've got an exciting story to tell, so thanks for coming in and sharing it.
No, as I say, thank you very much.
4.5 hour drive down here as well, so we appreciate that.
A few cans of Monster on the way in the morning.
He's buzzing late. So as you'll be able to tell, Adam's not from here.
Aye, exactly. So, you'll need the subtitles for this.
Whereabouts are you born and brought up, and where are you living at the moment?
So, a stage is 5 miles away from where I was brought up. So, it was a wee town called Cullen, famous for Cullen skinka soup.
Oh, aye.
So, that's probably what it's most known for. But just a wee kind of coastal village.
Beautiful beach there, eh?
Aye,
Cullen
it really
Bay,
is.
is it?
Aye, that's right enough.
Is that one where you get all the seals going at?
Not exactly there, but sometimes you'll see like dolphins and that out and about. Yeah, so it was quite a good upbringing. To be fair, you had the golf course there, the beach, a lot of sort of coastal paths, and like old railway lines for out on the bike and stuff like that. So you're always outside.
Fishing industry in that area, or was?
Yeah, it was absolutely. So kind of back probably about 2 generations ago or whatever, you could walk from one pier to the other just across all the boats, particularly sort of Christmas time and that. So I'm told, but obviously not like that
before
anymore.
your time,
before my time. So more sort of went to offshore. I would say a lot of the guys were. Like my own dad is still offshore, has been for sort of 30 years or so.
And your brother, your business partner, is he offshore as well?
Aye, he is. Funnily enough, they're actually in the same installation. So
are they?
Aye, so only 2 days.
That's probably quite cool actually, spend a bit of quality time with your father, eh?
Aye, that's it.
So the big question: why did you not go down that route then?
I'm nice with my hands, to be fair. I knew at quite an early stage in school that I was probably going to have to do something using my head rather than my hands. So,
what route did you go? Did you go to university? Or?
So I was looking at it, but I knew it was probably going to be finance that I wanted to go down. Got work experience at a local firm, quite liked it. Did my hires, and to be honest, I got to the end of 5th year and wasn't really enjoying school the same. I knew what I wanted to do, had a good experience there, and I just joined that local chartered accountancy firm, and it was almost like a modern apprenticeship route, which was quite new at that time. I would say it's more common now, but back then it was actually quite a new thing to leave school, go and join a firm like that, get the work experience, and then do the exams outside of that as well. So
nice. And are you still with that same firm?
Aye, yeah.
And they just kind of put you through your training. So you're an accountant then, are you?
Aye, yeah. So I just finished my exams last year, and just a few loose ends with like sort of portfolio stuff that you've got to put together just to get the ticket. But aye, pretty much there.
It's crazy though. Like, see when you get younger generation in, like here, like Adam makes you feel how dead old we are, because see when we're talking about like timescales and stuff like that, like it didn't seem that long ago we were like in COVID, right? We talk about that sometimes, but like he was literally just left school in COVID. Do you know what I mean? That's mental, man. So
good firm to be with.
Aye, to be fair, for up our way, typically speaking, I would say offices are sort of maybe 5-6 people, and you're the only sort of one your age, that sort of thing. Whereas the firm I'm at, for having started up there, I've got sort of 12-13 offices, so kind of all across Scotland. So, and even it's the Elgin office that I work in, so I'm not sure if you know where Elgin is, but I mean there's a good 90-100 of us in the office there, which for up our neck of the woods is a big office.
Big employer,
aye. So a lot of opportunity. So it's been.
So what gave you the first interest in property then?
Well, it's a bit of a funny story to be honest, but it was more from my brother to start with. So I think he'd been in the Merchant Navy to start with when he left school.
Is he older than you?
Aye, so he's 3.5 years older.
Right.
Yep. Was a marine engineer, the Merchant Navy, going all across the world. Some experience, like I think he was 17 when he went his first trip, had to go and join a boat for Australia. We'd been away on holiday and that, but never really had to go away himself, you know, that much. So that was his kind of background. And then basically once he met his missus and things were getting pretty serious and that, went offshore and then got married and everything like that. And at that point he was probably looking at how can I actually get my money working a bit better. We're both in the pipe band together, and he just came out with it when we were out having a few beers before a pipe band contest probably about 3 years ago now. And the idea at that point was just to buy a buy-to-let, but that was before sort of, you know, actually getting into proper education, all that kind of stuff. And he was struggling to see where the money was to be made when you're buying. You know, you just assume that you've got to buy at market value and all that kind of stuff. Looking at the cash flow, and that's not there. It's probably negative at that point and stuff like that. So, but as the algorithms go and stuff like that,
what you were looking for, you were just seeing it in your face.
Aye, once you start looking things up, it starts to come come up all the time, and it's the big hitters, as you know, that'll come up. Whoever's paying the most ads. So
obviously, Stephen popped up with being a big hitter himself.
That was 3 years ago.
So at that point, it was Samuel Leeds. It was coming up all the time, to be honest, and it was rent to rent. It was always coming up.
Did you go on his course then?
No. But just try, as you do at that point, you try and be quite tight, and you just kind of consume all the free content you can. And well, in my experience now, having went into it more proper, I would argue, that was one of the biggest mistakes we made, was to go and get educated to start with.
So what did you think rent to rent strategy originally, just to try and low capital in, try and get some cash flow in?
Aye, high cash flow, that sort of thing. Barrier to entry was pretty low, that sort of thing. And then obviously you're not committing quite as much as you are to like buying like a buy to let. You can't. There are like break clauses, that kind of thing in the contracts, but to be fair, it was an absolute disaster. So,
right. Nick loves this as well, and I do.
Yeah.
I like it when someone comes and suits a bit of a real story and lessons learned, mistakes made, because we all make them as well. So
I think this is what's great about the podcast, because we get time and we're able to dive into a little bit and looking on it. Now you've got the benefit of hindsight and now what you've done looking back on it, and it helps. If you think about it, people who are now listening to this who are in their early 20s, you're a wee bit ahead. So you can help somebody here by saying, look, the reality is, guys, this is what the reality is. Don't believe all the hype. So you're going to explain to us how it all worked out for you.
It really was a disaster when you hear it all. But we got two. So one was in Margate, south of England. Basically, when we taken it on, there was a good sort of 2-3 months. We took it on in sort of mid-June time, and there was a good like 3 months worth of bookings. I would say it was already 90% like occupied when we took it on.
And sorry, just to be clear, this is rent to rent for serviced accommodation, or HMO?
Serviced accommodation.
And how did you find this property? Did you start working with a sourcer?
Yes.
How did you find them? Where did you find them?
It was an app that they were supposed to have sort of been vetted and everything like that.
Right.
To be quite honest, it's 3 years ago now, so I can't remember the exact name of the app. We like to kind of forget about that now.
Okay.
Obviously we're on here speaking about it, but we're more sort of concentrating on what we're doing now.
Obviously you had, presumably you had like a sales call or something like that, or somebody came on, sold you this idea, and you thought, right, that sounds good, let's go for it. So Margate.
And it was pretty much fully occupied for 2-3 months when we first took it on already. So we thought, at least we know the first couple of months is going to go pretty well. And we looked on Airbnb just at sort of like what price it was coming up for us to actually book that very flat. And it was maybe showing a nightly rate of say 200 quid. When we actually took it on, the nightly rates that had actually been secured were 90 quid. So, like, when we were doing our figures, we probably took a wee bit off of that, but you're not going to half it. We maybe base our figures and say 140, 150 quid a night.
So they basically sold it to you as you could be getting £200 a night.
Yeah.
And the actual reality was 90.
Yeah.
When it got properly, when the money started to come through to you.
Yeah.
But then that's gross.
Yes.
90 a night. So then what were you kind of left with? So
probably making a couple of £100 a month, something like that.
What investment did you put into the deal? How much money were you asked for at the start?
About 12-13 grand, something like that. So it's to get the sort of furniture all bought and stuff like that, as well as
it's a heavy investment as well.
A couple of months rent up front, that sort of thing.
12 grand, and you're making profit in 200 a month. How many months is that going to take to the point where you're
standard buy to let with no BRR, isn't it?
Oh, you've not heard the worst yet.
Right, we'll keep going. We'll not get too bogged down in this then. Right.
So, with the nature of where it was at, we were told, there was a lot of building work had happened in the last couple of years. This guy had managed to get it occupied in the winter. Basically, after September, it just died a death, like completely. Just nothing pretty much coming through.
And you've got all your rent to the landlord still to pay.
And a flat down there, you're paying 1,200 quid a month rent. Oof. So
plus utilities,
yeah. So we ended up handing the keys back probably about 9-10 months into the deal for that one, because it was like break clauses every 3 months.
Right.
What are you actually paying? If you're paying a monthly rent to the landlord, where's the 12 grand coming from? Is that setup cost for like furniture and all that?
Well, you've got a sourcing fee as well to the guy who sourced it,
right?
And then you've got setup costs as well, as you say. So
wow.
And
then you're constantly every month.
I mean, like you say, if you were getting your £200 a night, which you looked like you were going to get, and at 98% occupancy in the summer months, and even if it was dropping down lower.
What were you hoping to make from it at the start?
We're probably thinking if we could clear, £800-900 a month, something like that, you would get your money back within a year and a half. You've then got, I think it was like a 5-year deal or something like that. You'd have 3.5 years of just making £800-900 a month, and at that point, we maybe need too much capital to go with. You're thinking there's less commitment than sort of a buy to let, that sort of thing.
And what were they saying to you then? Obviously, you're like, this is not. Did they have some sort of like? Was there the guy like who's being held to account here? Did you not go? This is not really working out. Why is it? Why am I not making the money? Projected figures. What was the feedback from them?
He closed his company down, and there was WhatsApp groups of. I don't even know if it was tens of investors. There was lots of investors.
Lost money.
And a lot bigger money than what we lost, to be honest. So that was one of them.
And just sorry, not to dwell on this, but it's good experience, and it's ultimately this is your growth, right? Because you have to learn from your mistakes, and you will have failures. And I always argue, like, unless you're always going to have failures in business, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
And not everything's going to work out. But is it just you just put it down to just being a bit naive and just not?
I would say so. Yeah, we would both say that. 100%, but at the same time, because we lost a fair bit of money in that's when we properly researched, like, okay, where can we go that will be able to help us to do it properly, and we ended up going to a group in Aberdeen, SJ Property Group, which was local to us, was only like an hour and a half away. We could actually go to live refurb visits. We were getting sort of live training, weekly support, that sort of thing.
I physically meet them and see them and see what they're up to, not somebody that was hundreds of miles away.
Exactly.
You've never met before.
To me, it's probably one of the invaluable bits, and I see you do that with your own education as well. And I think it's so important
network.
to and not just go in for a week to an office and training and then off you go.
See,
there you go.
That's interesting you say that, because say you had found that first, or you had gone to attend one of the Scottish Property Podcast networking events, and you had, probably at the table there would have been somebody doing SA, at the table, and you would have probably said, look, I've got this opportunity here, just have a wee look at it, and probably they would know somebody who's maybe tried it and failed, and they would have warned you against it. So that is the power of the network as well.
Absolutely, but I think it was a huge mistake that we made, and the other one was a disaster as well, to be quite honest.
Go on to that one.
So that one was in Bath.
This is this could be like a therapy session for you next, try to drag them right at you.
I'll be putting my arm round you at the end, mate. Listen, he's doing amazing now. So it's
absolutely.
So that one was in Bath. There was contractors in there that were from Romania, but for whatever reason they decided that they wanted to register to vote, and the local council at that point just wanted to at least look into it and thought, oh, this is a HMO they're running here. They're generally workers that were coming over for a construction project, that sort of thing, and then you're getting letters through the door, oh, you're running a illegal HMO and you could be fined 15 grand for...
Are you getting these letters?
Aye.
Because you guys have got the rent-to-rent contract on them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never ended up actually, we managed to fight it out, but at that point, once we had the bad experience with the first one, and then there was that. I mean, I was making good money, to be fair. I can't quite remember exactly what cash flow you were getting, but
it was positive though.
Was this positive. The same? Was this sourced by the same guy or the same?
Yes. Aye. Yeah. Yeah.
Fancy making £1,500 for sending a WhatsApp? Let's take a wee break to talk about referring sellers to John and Lewis at Prime Property Auctions. The boys have paid out over £350,000 in referral fees. Myself and Stephen have both done it, and it couldn't be easier.
If you know someone selling a property, the guys will pay you £1,500 or 1% of the sale price, whatever is higher, just for passing their details. Doesn't matter if the seller is already on with an agent or not, as long as you're in direct contact with the seller, just drop the guys a message and they'll do everything from the first call to getting the property sold. If you know someone who might be looking to sell or struggling to get the result with their own agent, go to the link in the show notes and send them a message now.
Did this one lasted a bit longer, or did they all collapse at the same time?
We probably kept that one another 3-4 months, something like that. But it was just with the timing of this. But I mean, we agreed on the two of them sort of within. Right. I mean, we've seen summer was meant to be good in the first one, that sort of thing. Yeah. And then committed to another one. Probably a wee bit gung ho. But
sorry, the letters were coming through the door then.
Aye.
And then
you just had to deal with that with the council. Eventually, inspectors came down so much that it actually hacked the guys off themselves,
Right.
and they ended up moving out. So problem was sort of solved at that point by just saying, right, okay, we'll just put the keys back to the landlord, activate the next break clause, and
Did you not think to yourself, well, I could get other tenants in or other people in it?
at that point we were pretty sick, to be fair.
Well,
pissed off
obviously,
with the
because obviously the first one had failed as well, so you're feeling pretty bitter towards the whole thing, so you're just like,
Aye,
let's get out of this.
I would say so. Aye.
But what was the change in mindset was it away from the rent to rent strategy? Was it that's own our own assets?
Sorry, before you move on to that, how much is he out of pocket?
I knew you were going to ask that.
All in with the two
I was
deals.
like, I'm trying to forget about this.
Aye.
That's the clickbait.
Adam knows he's an accountant. He knows.
Adam
Yeah.
lost how much money?
30 grand, I would say, between the two of us.
And what
Because
age? At what age?
22 I would have been.
That's a lot of money. I mean, that's a lot of money for us. Never mind
Yeah.
at 22.
Yeah.
And was that between you and your brother? Like, was
Yes.
it mainly your brother's money, or whose money is that? Because
To be perfectly honest, it's a mixture of both, but like he was able to support that more than I
Right,
was.
Wow.
Working offshore and that. But
Aye.
still wasn't great for me,
No,
to
no,
be
aye.
quite honest.
and you some of your savings.
Yeah. I was quite lucky, to be fair, that I'd been able to stay at home and working full time from about 17. A lot of folk are obviously going to uni and at that point are just coming out of uni. So I'd had sort of 5-6 years of
Yeah.
being able to do that,
Work
but
and
it
save.
still doesn't make it much easier to...
Any mum and dad's money in there?
No.
No. So you still managed to. You didn't get chucked out of the house then.
No, that's it.
you escaped. You kind of relatively unscathed and not a big massive bit of debt. You've just lost savings that you've put into it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, mate. In the early 20s. You know what I mean? And his brother's only 3 years older.
Yeah.
So how do you?
And he's just gotten married at this point, so
how do
he's
you
probably
recover from
thinking...
that? You must have felt pretty.
It was pretty high pressure.
Who did you tell, by the way? Did you tell like close folk around you and stuff like that? This had happened to you? Or did
They
you?
knew that... Aye, they knew about it, probably not the extent, I would say.
I mean, it's hard enough starting in property as with like people's limiting beliefs and negative naysayers that are going to just tell you that shit. Never mind making mistakes and going, see, I told you so. Told you you're going to lose money. Told you nobody makes money. Like, it just...
Exactly.
How long did they run for? About a year or less than a year?
About a year or less, something like
so
that.
you'd hardly made any. I mean, you didn't. The income was like
Yeah.
nothing. It didn't really offset much of the.
No, not
the
at all.
outlay.
And that was the thought, probably going into trying to get educated properly, was when you actually looked at it properly and seen like who was about at that point. The deal sourcing was quite a big thing, and it was probably just becoming a big thing.
Yeah.
And at that point, we kind of seen that as it's large 3-4k chunks. We'd actually been the people at the other end who had suffered from people doing it wrong,
Poorly,
really, poorly, and just not ethically at all. And probably seen that, well, if we actually do this properly, then there's opportunity there.
I love this because you've turned in a huge negative into a driving force behind your business at the moment.
To be quite honest, we backed ourselves into a corner where we had to really go for it. And I would actually argue, I was actually saying this to Cullen at the back end of last year, because things were starting to go a wee bit better, you could actually feel you were taking the foot off the gas just a little bit, just because you weren't in that sort of
pain
back
point,
against the wall.
Let's fight out this. Yeah. So was that the first kind of transition to a different strategy? Was let's go for sourcing? Let's see if we can source. And was that the first that you did?
To be quite honest, at that point, we were some of the things we were taking into consideration with the education and that was payment plans and stuff like that. And with these folk at the time anyway, you were paying monthly. So our thought was, if you're paying, I can't even mind the figures, but say 300 quid a month for that, hopefully by month 3 or 4, you're able to get a deal at 3-4 grand that covers all your training costs for the year, and then sort of profit after that, instead of putting down there's 5 grand or whatever. So that was the thought at the time anyway. So
how
sense.
did you get your first deal sourcing client then? Who was your first client?
To be perfectly honest, I think a lot of people kind of wonder, is it the deal that comes first or is it the client? And for us, it was the deal. We made a bit of a mistake by not trying to find investors, but it's quite difficult. I'm 22, my brother's 26, no track record. Well, we never put on social media, what we'd done previously. So, and
it probably would have been a
negative thing anyway. So,
I mean, people would probably respond to that quite positively now from a place of where you're at and where you're going. But if you did that right at the start, going, come and buy my deals from me, but you've just lost 30 grand an hour, they'll be like, what?
So pretty much we joined in that networking group quite locally. You pretty much got an idea of, people are looking to leave 12k left in or 10k left in. We pretty much just went with putting out offers based on, what are people buying for, because you don't want to go and get an offer accepted and then your reputation goes down the tube because nobody buys it. So we found the deal first, and then just posted it in as much groups as we could.
Did you find something in Aberdeen?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you remember what one you found?
So it was a 1 bed on Jasmine Terrace, actually.
Low hanging fruit there.
Is that a grunter?
It's a grunter. It's a grunter.
It's a grunter.
It's a real grunter of the word.
The second one was as well, to be fair. It was Roslyn Street, so
I've got one next street up from in Summerfield Terrace, 2 streets up from Jasmine, isn't it?
Yeah.
And our lettings manager sent me a video, and it must have been when Rangers were playing Aberdeen last week. Their flat was in the news. The fight's right outside the flat. They were like,
seen it?
They're all kicking off and battling.
It was a riot. It wasn't even a fight.
Summerfield Terrace. I was like, great. I'll be wrecked.
Yeah.
So that's where your grunters are.
Aye, that's it. So,
but obviously, talk to us about those first
couple of deals,
first ventures out then, because this is where people struggle as well. How do you become credible with the estate agent, because they're just, again, an estate agent. It's just, were they on the market right move through estate agents? Or
to be perfectly honest, it's a totally different market up in Aberdeen, and you'll know.
Right, it's like solicitors. It's like traditional solicitors.
But even like the volume of flats that are on the market. I mean, I've still to do an off-market deal. Believe it or not,
there's thousands on the market.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, there's a lot of stigma sometimes with that, with deal sourcing that. But to be perfectly honest, my attitude, I mean, we've bought plenty as well off of sourcers now. Better sourcers than we did at the start. And to me, as long as the figures are right that they're saying, or with information you've got available, they're a fair reflection of what you can expect. I don't really care if it's off market or if it's on Right Move or if it came from John Morris at Prime Property Auctions. You know what I mean? It really doesn't matter to me.
What was the figures on that first one? Remember?
I couldn't tell if I'm being honest.
40.
That's right.
It was no. I think it was 46 grand purchase price, something like that. Refinance value 65. I think it needed about 5-6 grand of work on it. Wasn't the best deal in the world.
What was your sourcing fee?
Well, we actually had to reduce our sourcing fee to £1,500 just to get rid of it, to be honest, in the end, because we hadn't went out there and really tried to network. The first 3 months we were just trying to
find the deals.
Over our craft, really, trying to find a deal.
And was it somebody in the group that bought it in the end?
It was, yeah. And then...
But that would probably give you credibility and a bit of, a bit of confidence booster that we've found something and we've sold it.
Oh, to us, at that point, 1,500 quid's a lot of money. And then the second one, we actually co-sourced. So it was somebody in the group who had the investor, and
you brought the deal in.
We brought the deal, and another £1,500. So I think we secured that probably about 3-4 months into doing it. So it was like 3 grand within sort of 4 months. And at that point, you're like, well, that's the training cost for the year.
Speak to us then about setting up as a sourcer. What sort of hours are you putting in? Where's the time spent? How many viewings are you doing, sort of thing? And how are you able to do that? And are you still doing your accountant's job at the same time at this point?
Yeah. Oh, I still am just now.
Still am.
So you're full time travelling back and forth to Aberdeen to do viewings, or are you?
Well, we just had to kind of get a wee bit crafty in terms of like how you actually spend your time. So, first couple of months, just to actually get to be able to spot things like, sockets and skirtings or something like that. That's probably going to be a rewire, little things like that. Tried to go to as much of these refurb days as possible within the group. Whenever anybody was saying, I'm halfway through a renovation just now, I'm going to be at the flat on Saturday morning, you'd be through, that sort of thing. And we were reviewing a lot, probably once every 2 weeks. You were probably through Aberdeen and probably just blitzed 8 viewings in a day.
You've just lined them up, just back to back.
Yeah. Once we actually got pretty comfortable that our numbers are pretty good, that sort of thing, sold a few deals, we're now putting our offers out subject to viewing. And a lot of estate agents maybe don't like that, but there are ones that actually will work with you.
So this is a good trick, because like people realise, obviously, yourself, how time intensive it is if you're actually physically having to go out and do viewings.
Skip the data, view them, praise them, then go out and view them.
Oh, absolutely. And the volume offers, I mean, at the moment, I just got a text from my brother before I came into the podcast today saying that's my 60 follow-ups out for this week.
60?
Aye.
Wow.
So
these are properties sitting on the that you've offered on already?
I just following up every 2 weeks saying, see it's still on the market, it's not shifted.
So the cheeky offers then that have been put in originally?
Yes. Yeah. So,
and then obviously...
We'll come back and take them eventually.
Aye.
What
is just on the follow-up process, like how do you manage that? Do you have some people use Trello, some people have got a spreadsheet. What's your system?
It's Trello we use, but it's mainly my brother that kind of deals with the on-market stuff now. Okay. So that's his department. So I don't know exactly how he uses it to
manage it when he's offshore or a bit more time.
How have you split things up then between you and your brother?
So I deal with sort of the finance side of things with us, making sure our private investors are paid out in time, invoices are paid, bookkeeping's done, all that kind of stuff. And then just sort of recently just started trying to do a wee bit more sort of off-market stuff, sending out letters to existing landlords just saying, if you're ever looking to sell up, we're interested, that sort of thing. Got investors that are also interested. And that's a slow burner. You're putting out sort of... Well, I've got a VA actually that kind of identifies these opportunities for us. We've got a template letter and they're kind of ready for me every Saturday morning, probably about 40 letters to kind of print off and handwrite the envelopes just because it's a wee bit more personal because you know what, like there's a lot of these big companies will put out letters, dear homeowner or occupier, and you just kind of put it in the recycling. Certainly I do anyway. So
that's a good tip. Yeah. Just makes it stand out a little bit more.
Aye, that's it. I mean, hopefully they can read my writing. That's the only thing. So
sourcing's still a big part of your business and what you're doing in property day to day.
Aye, absolutely. I mean, we're still pretty young. Our capital's pretty limited in what we can put in. We've got some private investors that are backing us with the portfolio side of things, but the reality is we kind of just keep on buying everything.
Yeah. So when did you start thinking, well, okay, we're getting good at finding deals, when we're going to start building our own portfolio?
Probably about 6 months in. So we'd kind of been putting in a few hints to people about private investment, that sort of thing. Just the usual thing you do, send out the template sort of agreement that you would be planning to put out to people, and not even telling them, look, are you interested? But look,
can you look over this for me?
Did you have to shift your mindset in terms of asking people for money? Or were you quite comfortable with that? Like actually to get investors on board, to actually physically say, right, are you going to invest with me?
I was just trying to flip the coin and ask people for money. Can I just present it as an opportunity, just saying, look, if you've got savings that are sat there, getting bugger all interest or whatever like that, we are looking to start our own portfolio. We've got a track record now of having sourced 3, 4, 5 deals with these ex-investors. They've all went as planned, and we want to do it ourselves as well. But
and was it friends or family the first?
Very first ones was a guy that worked offshore with my brother,
right,
and family as well. So he actually got a real shock, to be honest. The guy offered him a hell of a lot more money than we wanted to start with, and at that point,
so who got a shot?
My brother. So he was like sitting in the
guy offshore that he works with.
Aye, so he offered, I think it was $250,000 at that point, and we were like, in Aberdeen, that's
you try to keep a straight face, aren't you?
Aye,
you're like, I no bother, that's fine. Then you're walking away going, wow. How was that telephone conversation with you two?
How much did you take off him though at the 250?
50.
Aye, that's quite sensible, because a lot of people would probably just go gung ho and go, fuck it, let's take the money and.
Exactly, and I think we built a fair bit of trust with him at that point, because I mean he's in for a lot more than 50 now.
Right?
Oh yeah,
that's amazing.
More than he'd originally offered now.
Just because he's built up trust and he sees what you're doing, and
I mean, if we just bit his hand off and my brother had just said yes without even speaking to me on the phone, then I'm pretty sure he would have been like, no. Whereas we only took the 50, and then we did 1 deal, 2 deals, 3 deals, and then he was like, well, okay, now.
He's getting paid back his interest.
I think he was selling a house.
Like you don't necessarily need that many investors, do you? If you get a couple of good ones like that.
I mean, at the moment we've got 3, and he probably makes up 80% of that, 90% of that. A couple smaller kind of chunks as well, but you just need a few. But it's worked well for him. He's, I think he sold a house in that time, And at that point, the proceeds of that, he just kind of put over. But at that point, he'd already seen the evidence of us paying the interest out.
And what are you actually, the model that you're doing? So you're, for the first one, so because a lot of people will be listening to this and they'll just not have a clue how you use private investor money. Yeah. So you take in £50,000 of somebody's money. Yeah. What do you do with that?
So for that deal, we put down a 25% deposit on a buy-to-let, which again in Aberdeen is 20 odd grand or something like that. It's not exactly a lot of money.
And this would be through bridging or?
Yes.
Bridging loan.
At that point, we went through the broker, arranged a bridge with together, then did a full refurb, and then refinanced. So I think the figures on that one, to be honest, it really, I would look back and say that was probably our worst one, but it was our first deal. That's probably
it's a starting point for you.
And looking back, it was still, I mean, I think we left 18, 19 grand in that one, which for, Aberdeen is quite a lot to be leaving in a deal.
What are you cash flowing, roughly? 300 quid a month, something like that. But decent.
Still 20% return on the money.
When you look, as a numbers guy and accountant, right, you're looking at that. Where else could you put, that 20 grand or 18 grand or whatever it is and get that sort of return?
Aye.
I know property prices are dropping -6% in Aberdeen, but but on your cash flow and your actual profit and your return over the year, makes sense, doesn't it?
Aye, I mean that one refinanced at 90 grand, you're getting 800 quid a month rent on that. It's pretty good.
Good return.
Yeah.
The only thing about leaving 20 grand investor money in is what happens if the investor goes, I need my money back.
So our agreement is, so he signed up for 3 years, that guy, and it's a minimum 12-month notice that he's got as well. So if he wanted his money back at the 3-year point, he would actually be getting it 4 years. It gives us a year to, adjust the portfolio if we need to sell a couple of flats, restructure, that sort of thing.
Extra deals to bring in some extra cash.
I mean, we've had the conversations, and I'm sure we'll get on to the number of properties we've got now, but we bought a lot last year.
How many? How many have you got now?
So we've got 13 now.
Amazing, mate. That's brilliant.
Another one going through next month, and then a portfolio of 10 that hopefully that goes through April, May time, but it's the first time we've ever went through that. So
I mean, I know it's not all about numbers of properties, right? But it shows you how quickly you've managed to scale. It shows that, you've been doing things and you've been going
consistently putting in the action effort.
That's why I mention it. It's not because how many properties you own. It's not about that.
No.
It's about at young age you've managed to acquire 13 assets that are cash flowing
at rock bottom prices in Aberdeen. The only way is up.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you believe in Aberdeen. You like it as an investment spot.
I think for us, we probably looked at it when we were younger, that was where you went through to do your shopping and stuff like that. So you actually knew a little bit about the areas, and we know it really well now. It just wouldn't make sense for me to go and try and learn Glasgow 4.5 hours away. And I mean, I get sent deals nowadays. People have secured them in Aberdeen that live 5-6 hours away, and all you get is right move photos. And you're you kind of
you managed to build up good relationships locally with other estate agents and agents and stuff like that, or has that been quite a challenge? What's been the challenges, would you say?
There are some agents that are more open to sort of working with you than others. As I say, we put in our offers subject to viewing a lot of the time.
They don't like that because they think that you're not serious, maybe.
Yeah. But if you've done 3-4 deals with them in the past and you've followed through in every one, which, I mean, including our own and client deals, I think we've done 30 odd now and never fell through with any of them.
Yeah.
Which is good. I think we had one that was a way to fall through an investor, and we found somebody else for it, but we're at the stage that we typically don't source something that we buy ourselves. So the worst came to the worst. If the cash is there, we would probably just buy it, which saves reputation with agents as well. But there's some agents are willing to work with you, and there's other ones that maybe don't want you to offer subject to viewing. But if you've got that relationship that they're not telling you, look, you should go and view this without there actually being something there, if you know what I mean, in terms of where the seller's at, discount wise, that sort of thing. So there's certain agents nowadays that we know that if they're saying to view it, it's going to be worth our while to go through it. Doesn't mean that you're definitely going to get a deal out of it, but it certainly reduces the amount of time we have to spend in Aberdeen. I mean, Cullen is offshore through there probably every 2-3 weeks, either coming home or going away. Typically those days he'll go and view properties, but outside of that, we don't have to actually go through that much nowadays. So, But no, there's a lot of rejection. I mean, I said we put 60 follow-ups out this week. We've still to get a deal in January. That's the
Where are you fitting in
Aye.
the time amongst, you know, your full time, you know, you're just doing it like property work, evenings, weekends, like
Aye,
spreadsheets, calls with investors.
Aye, that's pretty brutal to be fair. But I mean, for what we've done to dates, they bad.
Short-term pain for the long-term gain, isn't it? You know, in your 20s, and for you to sacrifice nights and weekends, that's going to give you freedom in years to come.
Aye, I mean, I heard a TikTok the other day saying that probably wherever you are now, no matter what age you're at, you've probably got as much time as you're ever going to have for these things.
Make the most of it, man.
Less responsibilities, you know what I mean? I've got a lot less responsibilities than you guys, so to me, now's the time to knuckle down and just try and build it up.
Did you kind of start with the end in mind? Like, do you have a kind of long-term kind of goal in terms of the portfolio building?
It's quite difficult, to be honest. We probably just wanted to be at a stage that we have got some figures in mind, and it's just that buffer of, like, if anything happened, especially with my brother being offshore, the way the industry is, he needs something probably after offshore oil and gas to actually support him. And even for myself, I mean, I know probably 4 or 5 folk that lost their jobs just locally, not necessarily oil and gas, just there in December.
Are you quite happy in your work?
I do enjoy it, but I do enjoy doing this as well.
Yeah.
And it's I do enjoy the stimulating conversations you get from, you know, these off-market deals that I'm working on in the background. Speaking to somebody the other day that's, you know, built up from 1 pharmacy to 2 to 3 to 4, and then they've used the surplus cash from that to buy these assets, and so interesting conversations you have with people. From all walks of life, to be honest.
Does your employer know about it? I mean, they do now because you're on the podcast.
Aye, no, they know about it. I mean, we're quite loud on social media about it as well.
You've got quite a lot of videos there on your Instagram. Now, just the reason I say that is because that's another stumbling block for some people, because they struggle with that. Because I mean, I would always advise keep your day job going as long as you can, because it provides you with that stability.
Aye, absolutely.
Too many people jump quicker.
People jump when you don't need to jump as well. Like, if you do enjoy your job and you can do it on the side, and I've got a business partner, then why jump? Like, have the flexibility of a day job, a salary, and
it's different. I guess it's different if you hate it. If you really hate it,
or it impacts your family life, and you didn't get to see your kids, and it's okay, fucking make a change and go for it. But if you're sitting there going, I don't have any kids, and I just have to work extra, so why?
Aye, there's absolutely no rush, even if I did want to do it. And I mean, if 2 years was to be trying to take a salary out of the business at once at the exact same time, you're just going to... It sounds really greedy, but I don't think I'd want to put myself in the position that we can't buy anything. I'd rather just keep on stocking. It doesn't mean we need to be building 10, 13 units every year, but still want to be in the position you're buying a few a year, or even get to the stage where you're like, you know what, cash flow doesn't matter anymore. It's at the level we need it to be. I'm just going to buy some really high quality stock, maybe down here in Glasgow, that's going to appreciate a bit more than Aberdeen. Stick it in a capital repayment, and, you know, 20, 30 years time, you've got fully paid for a flat or whatever. So I wouldn't want to...
The 13 you've done up to now, then, were they all single units?
Aye, yeah.
Well, because I'll talk about some of those deals before we go into the portfolio then. Yeah. All single units are you sourced, or you paid a sourcing fee, I think you said as well?
Aye, I mean, we've paid sourcing fees for a good few properties now. We've probably found 9 of them. We've probably gotten 4 of them sourced onto us, something like that.
And have they all been kind of single units where you've bought it, private business finance, onto a bridge, refurbed it, and then back off the bridge quite quickly?
Not necessarily. We've gotten a wee bit creative as well. With some of them we've actually bought in cash, but deliberately gotten an AMV running it before we've bought it, so it's automatic.
Sorry, I'm going to stop the jargon there. The AMV, for listeners that are not familiar.
So it's an automatic valuation that your broker can run for you, or if you're going direct to, like, say, Together, they can run it for you as well, and it just tells you what their online valuation is going to be for that property, and
you know how much you're going to pull back out straight away.
Aye, pretty much. So if you've got money to maybe only buy one, or pretty much money to buy one, you could go and buy one cash, and then, you know, pull out 75% of that online valuation. Sometimes, depending on how much discount you've actually secured at, it can be really good. Like, you're maybe buying one at 39,999, and AMV comes back at 70 grand, something like that. In fact, I've got an example. The one that goes through next month, I think we're buying, it's tenanted, and it's bought for 46 or 47. AMVs came back at like 90,000.
Brilliant.
So what you can then do is pull that cash out and then go and buy another one at that point. And you're sometimes saving on the sort of entry and exit fees, because you know yourself, the bridging can be pretty expensive. So if you're paying a broker to set up 2 bridging loans, all that kind of stuff, sometimes buying one cash and then pulling, getting a bridge on that to then go and buy another one has worked pretty well. So
No, that's good. Good strategies as well. And give us an example of one of the best deals you've done then, like that, and the single units.
So I've got a good one that I actually just went through last week, but I'd say the best one was 1 bedroom on Watson Street, Rosemount. So it was an 85k home report. We bought it for 46,000.
What?
Like 46,000.
That's mental. See, for like somebody who doesn't know, I don't know the Aberdeen market, right? But when I hear those figures, I'm like, that's mental. Because down here it's like usually home report or above, anything that's on the market.
Home report was what?
85.
What would that rent for? Would it rent for in the condition that you bought it in?
Aye, so it's one of those that I would say we're probably going to have to put in kitchen bathroom the next 10 years. It's serviceable.
Right, but
it's not poor.
It still rents straight away.
Aye, yeah.
What's that rent for?
600. So
this is why I said that secretly Aberdeen's the best city to invest in the UK. Because with numbers like that, tell me a city or any location that you could put a buy to let on 46 grand and rent it out at 650 grand.
That's why you saw the potential, 6 years ago?
Yeah.
When did you start buying Aberdeen?
When they were coming down.
Right, so this is only, so you wish you got into it now?
I wish I was starting Adam's time.
Not 6 years ago.
No, I was a 39.95 brigade. Don't want to pay ADS.
But that's it. The reality is, because the market's gone down a wee bit and surveyors will base their end value on sales evidence, they won't base it on what a home report would be. So what we find is, if you do no work, quite a lot of the time your end value will come back lower. So this is an example. So the home report was 85k. It's no disaster, but the end value came back at 75. And that's where I think people actually get caught out in Aberdeen. They say, I've got a 20% discount. If they get a 20% discount...
They're basing that on the home report value.
Yeah. This is the thing. People listen to the home report like it's gospel numbers. Numbers where your value's going to come back at the survey. So you put a 75% loan to value mortgage. How much did you leave in that one? Not that much.
We got paid for that one.
I was about to say, you've got to bring it out. That's still no money out.
Better than that still. So we actually did the strategy that I just mentioned previously, with buying something else in cash and raised a bridge to purchase it. Brilliant. So we got paid a couple of grand on going into it, because we raised more than we needed. Then the purchase price, the ADS, the legals, and then we got paid a couple of grand on the back end when you got 75% of 56 grand, because you bought it 46 grand and did bugger all to it. So
decent tenant in place, like rented out, no bother.
It's a good area.
I've not heard from the letting agent, so
use a letting agent. Good man, that's what I like. A sensible boy here.
Of course, that's how he's able to scale, isn't it?
Aye, that's it.
Well, I'm not being funny, but I mean, there's times that we've bought turnkey ones like that I've never been in that flat, put it that way.
And you don't want to be, because you've got the day job, plus you're doing all the spreadsheets and numbers and trying to find the
pipe band, plus he's travelling back and forth to Aberdeen.
I've not talked about the pipe band. Do you do that big World Pipe Band Championships in Glasgow?
Yeah. So
do you got that?
I really enjoy it. So.
Nice one. What's your band?
It's Buchan. Used to be Buchan Peterson. I think we've still got the Peterson name in, but it's Buchan Pipe Band we're in, which is the sort of Peterhead area. So
you and your brother?
Yeah. So
fantastic.
And your bagpipes, what does he do?
He's bagpipes as well.
Bagpipes, that's cool.
It's a really good buzz. I've been to that.
It's a dying trade. A bagpipe player, isn't it?
It is actually, to be fair. I mean, sort of post-COVID, I think we've kind of lost a few generations, just a guys that would have been coming through the systems, through the schools and stuff like that. I mean, even at the very top level at grade 1, you've got a few bands have kind of folded the last couple of years just because they've not got the same amount of playing members. But no, still really enjoy it, and it's pretty competitive.
Do you still live at home, or you got your own place? Well, when I say home, I mean like with your parents.
No, I had actually not long bought the house when we went through all the rubbish at the start with yeah. So
get on the property ladder, your own mortgage, your own name, and then losing that money.
But I got
fair play for pushing on with the business though, and to grow.
That's it. I think we kind of backed ourselves into a corner, as I say, but. I mean, you quite often look at people coming into these groups and that, and you see names leaving and stuff like that. I actually think that maybe the younger people that don't have the same amount of capital quite often are the ones that come out ahead just because
They've got
nothing to lose.
Aye.
You know what I mean? When you've got a mortgage, you've got a couple of cars in the drive,
You're
got
not
kids.
you're not prepared to take the risk basically when you've got that sort of.
It's also like you mentioned before, back against the wall. I've said that umpteen times. My worst time in property was 2016 when I left offshore, sold a flip, got my redundancy package for the oil and gas company, sold a property in the buy-to-let portfolio, and for the first time in my life I had money in the bank, and it was my year of lack of hustle. Whereas every other time I've always had to hustle like fuck, find deals, and you were just like find the money, and you went out and hustled because you needed to. Talk us on the I'd like to cover a bit on the portfolio because it's interesting as well. Like you don't need to do a massive amount of single units to go for a portfolio, and obviously this portfolio is going to almost double the size of the portfolio for you guys. So how did that one come about?
So it was a wee bit of a roundabout way. So one of the guys that's in some of these groups had sent it on to us. At that point, it was a 22 unit portfolio. The seller had obviously agreed between that point and when we agreed to purchase 10. Obviously, somebody bought 12 or 2 lots of 6 or something like that. But he must have gotten to the stage that basically he was like, I've gotten rid of this other 12. I really want rid of this 10. So we'd been sent these figures before, but it was actually agreed at quite a higher price, to be honest. But it kind of became a wee bit fair game when the guy started posting all over Facebook that, was there any investors interested in this sort of thing? And we had to act pretty quick, to be honest, because that same weekend there was, I think, probably 3 or 4 people posting the same deal in all these WhatsApp groups. Fortunately, we managed to secure it for 50 grand less than it was being advertised at. And then obviously saved ourselves all the sourcing fees as well. And I think because we were quite local people, this guy was quite local as well, kind of spoke the same way as him as well, and all that kind of good stuff. And the fact that we'd got this track record of, well, we just bought 10 this year, that sort of thing, it kind of gave him a wee bit of, reassurance. That,
so are these 10 all in Aberdeen as well?
No, they're in Peterhead.
Oh, they're nice.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of, we've got one service accommodation unit live there already, and we've got 2 refurbs at the minute for another couple of them going through. These are probably lower end stock, but I mean the yields in it, actually puts Aberdeen to shame, to be fair, with the yields you're saying.
I saw one that Sam sold actually last week that came through. Did it come through you, Peter, in Peterhead? The 50 grand 2-bed that was, I went like £80 a night.
He spoke to me about it, but
this is for serviced accommodation market.
Well, the portfolio isn't necessarily, to be honest.
No,
but I mean,
just a couple of these units.
But I mean, we agreed a purchase price of 495 on it. The rent rolls in it £6.5 grand a month.
So wait a minute, how do you fund that then? Is that through private investors?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
So are you going to bridge
big numbers,
on the initial purchase with the private investors deposit, or are you going to put in a term loan and then exit the exit finance later on?
Putting it on a bridge to start with, and then using the 25% deposit for the private investors funds. But I mean, we've got quite a lot of units in the portfolio now, so trying to get creative. So we've got a few that have already been bought in cash that we've run AMVs and that. So I don't think we're actually going to have to put much cash down on that one, to be honest. And it's still going to cash flow, north of $1.50 a month on the bridge, being almost 100% funded. So, and
then a decent bit of discount to come off the bridge onto long-term finance.
We're hoping that, but I mean, the worst case scenario on that one, if you've bought at valuation, you're leaving 125 grand in. It's going to be cash flowing $2.5-3 grand a month. So even if you've
still good returns.
So the worst case scenario, it's still very good returns. You're getting all your money back out in 4 or 5 years without putting any rents up, without doing a refurb and pushing rents up. So
because you're obviously got all the interest payments back to the investors.
Yes.
Is it more about like acquiring the assets at the moment rather than actually, you're not going to be left for much by the time you pay out the interest, or are you still left for a good bit?
So I would say we've obviously signed them up for 3 years, and that was why we've been able to go gung-ho at it, to be honest, for a year.
That's a good tip.
But I mean, in my head anyway, there was no point in buying 6 this year, 6 the next year, and then 6 the last year, because the 6 in the last year, you're not getting any cash flow off it. You may as well get them in early. And then this year we've had quite a frank conversation with each other and just said, right, pretty much probably 70% of what we do this year will be sourced out. But it wouldn't have made sense to do it the other way. And then for the sourcing side, it actually helps, because I think it gives investors confidence when you're like, well, we're only sourcing in the areas that we've bought
We've done this ourselves, so you get skin in the game.
Aye, we refinanced through the corner. We got that
Trust,
that valuation. You know,
oh,
what I mean?
absolutely, man.
So that's what I find easy as well with the Aberdeen sourcing like stuff. If people go out with Aberdeen, they try and come in because there's been no sales comparables going in. There's not a lot of comparables to look at unless they're fucking 39.95, 46 grand. Whereas you know inside groups you're like, well, I know that Adam's just refinanced that one in Watson Street at 75. So straight away I know when I'm buying something, I'm looking at end value 75. Like you just got that. It's almost that insider knowledge of what the valuation should be coming back with.
Aye, and I mean we're part of a lot of national sort of groups as well, and we're trying to get sort of referral systems in place so that, you know, if a lead comes through for somewhere that's out with our area, we pretty much just put it to somebody who does know it very well. Just using it as an example, but David Smartham and his group, we've put a few to him that, you know, it's down the central belt. I don't know anything about it. It would take me ages to try and understand that market, and really, I don't think I can really help that seller. He can, but
there's a battle. There's a kind of battle of referral fees going on at the moment as well, isn't there? Like everyone's offering like $1.50 now. So, by the way, while we're on that, we work with Prime Property Auctions.
They offer $1.50 as well.
Yeah, so go and speak to John Lewis for any deals, like you say, that you're maybe not able to sell yourself. So
we've put one to them. We've got one with David, so we'll see how. You
can come back and you can review it in 6 months' time. How much are you paying your investor? Percentage.
So his first amount was 10%. They've came in different tranches. So there's one of the tranches we gave 12% of that one, and that was the point where we had like 2 buy-to-lets and we really wanted to go for it at that point. And then there's another tranche after that's been 10%. So they're all between 10 and 12%.
12% is decent.
It's a good return. Yeah,
decent for them, man. If it works for you, then great for everybody.
Aye, absolutely.
Everyone's in a win-win.
Aye, exactly. So, I mean, I don't think he's actually working now anyway. He's kind of got into that age and stage in life where I think he can live quite a comfortable lifestyle off of maybe other stuff he's got on the go, plus the interest. He's not having to get into, you know, the weeds of the deals or anything like that.
How great a position is it though that you're in now, where you like have built up these 13 properties, done that strategy, done it with private investor, and you can stand there now, and if you're wanting to raise more money, you can just say, look, I've done this. Look back on my Instagram page, you'll see the videos. You know, it's such a good, must feel so good to be able to achieve that in a short space of time, and you're still only 26, 27?
I'll be 27 in May, and I think the way I'm looking at it at the moment, we really want to go with the sourcing, so it's more sort of, we understand the pain points for investors. We've done bridge and finance ourselves. We've, you know, we understand the local market, and we kind of get the game in terms of if you want to do buy-to-let in Aberdeen, we're doing it ourselves, and
so the sourcing is really, like, for anyone listening, that's your direction for 2026. You're going heavy on the sourcing now.
I would say so, yeah. So but hopefully we can keep the deal flow with the on-market stuff. We're also working on sort of portfolios in the background for off-market, and we're sending some of that letters as well. There's some interesting opportunities coming through for stuff. It gets a wee bit difficult because you look at it and you think it's maybe not our bag. There was one that was like a commercial unit with 3 flats above it, and you're like, how much time do you spend, you know,
try to make it a deal and try.
Aye, and you're like, I think there's a lot of people that kind of try and branch out too soon, too quickly into lots of different things. We've just stuck to buy to let in Aberdeen. Even when we've done Peterhead, we agreed that portfolio ourselves, but the SA units have been sourced to us as well, from people that are local there that know the market better than us. And who can manage the refurb for us as well. That's another thing, to be honest, that has helped us to.
I love that though. You're not getting carried away, because we know loads of people that they just see the next trend or the next money making strategy and they just go for it. So having that level heads is great. How are you? Whose job is it to manage the trades and the refurbs?
The PM, project manager. We've never. You wouldn't want me to manage a refurb, honestly.
And not your brother. So you just get a team to do it, and you've got a project manager then that you pay.
So the guys we did our education through, they did our first couple of flats. A couple of guys that are in the TIW as well. Louis and Hannah have done a couple for us as well. And I think the vision with that is that we want to get to a stage where we're buying enough, and that we've got enough clients buying that you probably maybe need a couple of teams there that can handle a project.
He's really approached this from a proper investor mindset, isn't he? Right from the
absolutely.
start. Do you know what I mean? There's no messing about. Like, when was the last time you pulled on your overalls and started painting a flat, mate? No.
I mean, still do it.
So, like, I don't, again, there's kind of flip side of it. I always say, I think it is quite a good experience to get in there, get your hands dirty, if you can do it, or if that's, you know, I think it's good to know, like, what's underneath the floorboards, I'm sure I've heard you say that in the past.
Yeah,
as well.
I love getting stuck in a bit of refurb, but it's good to know it. But if it goes wrong, or if you're doing viewings to point out, you know, or you know what something's going to cost because you've done it.
You're kind of in the Ian Dudding camp, I think. I think you're quite. It's quite.
And Sam's exactly like that. He would know one end of the paintbrush to the other end.
Right.
But, like, look at the portfolios these guys have got.
Aye.
But you don't need to. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of people get mistaken, especially women. Are like, oh, I can't get involved in property because I don't know how to do DIY. Like, it's the thing you probably need to know least in property. Really, is refurbs.
I think it really depends what you're looking at as well. I mean, we're dealing with 1 and 2 bed flats, and the majority of the time it's either you know exactly right, okay, you're going to do a kitchen, probably a rewire here, paint it or whatever, new carpets. Next one going to be a full refurb, and if it's a full refurb,
You know what it's going to cost.
you know it's probably going to be we're roughly probably about 25 grand for that at the
I
moment.
was going to say, would that be a 2-bed kind of full refurb, new kitchen, new bathroom?
Yeah.
Not heatings or not heating system or windows, or would that be heating and windows?
Possibly just replacing a boiler. It wouldn't be, you know, changing it from electric to gas.
Yeah,
if you're
new
going to
boiler
be doing
upgrade.
that. Yeah, that sort of thing.
You've talked about Aberdeen trades prices rocketing.
Yeah.
So that must be quite a dent in the old profit margin.
I wouldn't really know because I've only been, you know, we bought our first one May 24. So
Aye.
we're not even.
You're just used to it then.
Aye, we're just kind of used to that price.
He's paying them high.
Aye, yeah. So
That's why the match will go to him now. He's going to pay it no more a bit.
the reality is, I mean, you obviously did it for years, and you're staying quite far away from Aberdeen. You would think that we were quite close, but we're still 60 miles away, a good hour and a half. So trying to manage refurbs, I reckon we probably have 3 or 4 flats at this point if we tried to do it that way.
And that's the investor mindset again, the scale mindset.
100%. It's good to start off with that
delegating,
mindset.
outsourcing.
Don't get me wrong, if we're doing like flips, I think that's where it could go really pear-shaped if you're getting your refurb number slightly wrong or that sort of thing. And we've never been far out, to be honest, but that's because we've stuck to 1 2-bed flats. It's almost
Do you know what I like about you as well? You're not obsessed with getting all your money back out of deals. You know, you've said you're quite comfortable, like 18k left in. It's not, you know, it's not great, but it's not the end of the world.
I think sometimes people focus on the all money out, but if it's going to be making you 100 quid a month, what's the point? Like, in 10, 20 years' time, you're still going to have a flat that you're probably making 100 quid a month from.
Aye.
Whereas the one that you're leaving 18 grand in, yes, it's taken 5-6 years to get your money back, but then thereafter, you've got.
Yeah, I say that's.
Do you speak to people about the risk involved in Aberdeen? We were talking earlier about if the prices continue to drop when you come off those deals to get, you know, the refinance and you're leveraged quite high. Is that potentially going to be difficult?
I suppose it could be. To be honest, the way I'm looking at it, like, I do think we are buying at a time where, like, the narrative about Aberdeen can't get much worse, like with energy and, you know, oil and gas, that sort of thing. But certainly when we're working with like sourcing clients, if there's like any negatives with like a property, the best thing to do is just like say, look, this is a risk. It's still a good deal. You know, the numbers are really good on it, but this is the risk in this one. And I think that's where, like, we've picked up pretty good deals. Like, you know, damp issues, for example. We had one where it needed like 3.5k worth of damp repairs. It was top floor. But other than that, flat was absolutely fine. Home report on that one was 125k, and we've picked it up for 80k just because everybody's looking at that home report, and especially like a residential first time buyer or whatever like that just looks at that and assumes that it's going to cost an absolute arm and a leg. So whenever there is anything like that, or, you know, speaking about prices, anything like that, we have conversations pretty regularly.
How detailed do you go into the deal analysis in your spreadsheet? What are you like? Are you putting in the 10% contingency for maintenance, repairs and stuff? Or I wouldn't
say so. No, I mean that's up to like whoever buys it. But, you know, your refurb numbers, rental figures, your end values, but actually like backing that up with sales evidence.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think that's the biggest one in Aberdeen. That's
trying to get the sales evidence to prove what it's worth.
That's the biggest risk area that I see anyway, and that's probably the biggest one that I point out to.
The reason I say that is just for other investors who are buying from sourcers. I'm just saying, you know, like sometimes because we take on clients that are buying buy-to-let property in Glasgow, and you know, the sources said they're going to get £800 a month, and it's really kind of like 700, you know, and stuff like that. Overinflating the rents is quite a big one. So, you know, do you speak to your letting agent? Obviously, you've got a letting agent, so you kind of get the info from them as well.
I mean, I would say we were very lucky. So the letting agent we use, before we even gave him any business, we were, you know, met him at a few networking events, and we were able to send Chris a few figures. I'm saying a few, actually hounded him, I would say, for months, way figures. What would this rent for? What would that rent for? And it must have been a pain in the backside for him. But now, obviously, he's gotten our business, and like, he's built up so much credit with us that someone could go pretty pear-shaped and we wouldn't be looking at moving, or if, you know, somebody's looking to undercut him by 0.5% or 1% on a management fee, I wouldn't be looking to move, because he's built, he helped us so much in the first 6 months, to be honest, with that kind of thing.
Is that Chris Minchin?
Yeah. Aye. And we're now at the stage where we've done so many deals ourselves, we kind of know. I mean, if he's going to be...
Good to have that team though, innit? Like, that you can, like, you know, that's again, you're pulling everything together. I know you probably don't feel young, but see when you speak to, well, I'm 45, remember?
Oh, shit. Adam, thanks very much for joining us on the Scottish Property Podcast. I appreciate you coming down and making the journey and being honest and open and sharing your story, because it isn't easy when you make mistakes to start off and own them. So thank you.
No, I think that's the best way to be, and I think we've kind of learned that to start with, you think, oh, should I share this, should I not, or whatever like that, but the more you share, actually, I think people respect you more, and I think the see, if you're being pretty authentic like that, they kind of gravitate towards it a wee bit.
Take this link, send it out in your investor pack as well. You know, if you do come to raise more money, or your sourcing pack, and say, this is my story as well. Do you know what I mean? People buy into it.
People can appreciate it. And on that, where can people reach out to you if they wanted to do business with you or follow your journey? Just Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. I think we have a really old business page, to be honest, that never gets updated now. It's all just kind of our personal pages. We've just kind of found, I don't know if you guys find it or no, but nobody really seems to interact with like a faceless business, whereas if it's your own sort of personal page, you seem to get a wee bit more
bagpipe playing, mate. Get some more bagpipes on your videos. I love bagpipes as well. There you go, mate. Good, man.
Maybe hack off the others in the block right enough.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Cheers.
Thank you.
No, thank you.